Yeah, some fans were actually upset at Zach for being stoic and, like nearly unresponsive during the funeral. And I just have to say, what show were you watching? Like, don't get me wrong. For the most part, myself and the fan base have been on opposing ends of the spectrum throughout season three on many topics. But when it comes to the funeral itself, Zach being just, I don't even know how to describe it. Him being there physically, but like mentally, emotionally, spiritually, it's like he was feeling nothing. Heck, he even explained that in one of my favorite scenes of the season after the funeral when Fatima and him, when Zach and Fatima are upstairs in the bedroom during the repast, and she went up there to check on him. It's like he felt nothing, like the fact that it was always that feeling of dread of something happening to his mom because of the life she lived. But now that she's gone, it's like he doesn't, that weight has been lifted from his shoulders. So there's some sort of comfort in that. I mean, he doesn't go so far as say, well, I know my mom is in God's hands now. He's like, I know my mom isn't suffering anymore. So it's like, I don't have to worry about her like I used to. So that's a burden lifted from me. But then you look at when Jeremiah showed up and people are like, man, what? All he said is Fatima, he's high, he's high. Can you not blame Zach for wanting nothing to do with his brother? Keep in mind, the day before the funeral, he and his brother, well, actually, about 36 hours ago, because remember, it was at nighttime when he went over to the hospital to talk with Jeremiah. Then the next day, he went to check on Jeremiah, who was leaving the hospital. Then he drove into rehab. Later that same day, hey, your brother left rehab and you can't get your money back. Zach was concerned about putting up $5,000 that he does not have to get his brother the help that he asked for. Zach did not force his brother to go to rehab. Jeremiah said that, it's different this time because mama gone and I don't want to go out like that. So this is my wake up call. The hospital's talking about a rehab center, and it's like, can you put me in there? They said I can go in there as soon as possible. So Zach drove over an hour to get his brother to the center. That's when he started, the fiending. And Zach had that emotional moment seeing his brother literally falling apart, unable to control his like bodily functions and whatnot until he was taken to the back to get cleaned up. And then he drives over an hour back. He's at work trying to get to some sort of, he's just trying to get back in the flow of life because of everything that's been going on. Connie comes in and then he gets a phone call about his brother leaving. So he's done. He's mad because he can't get his money back. He doesn't care where his brother is. Then he believes his lady called to come home, to get a little something. And then next thing you know, Leslie's there instead. And it's just a whole mess. Zach has been through hell. And I'm not even going to say he got out of it. He was still there at that point in time. So when Jeremiah came to the funeral with his antics and whatnot, acting like nothing happened, I can understand completely. Zach is done. If there was one word to describe him during that entire ceremony, done. Done. The only time we actually saw some real emotion from Zach is when Fatima said she was going to step outside with his brother. And he said, look, if you go out there and he puts his hands on you, all bets are off. Meaning that, look, all this whole me learning a lesson and thinking about what I'm throwing away, like that's gone. Like, no, I'm not. No. And I don't blame him. Zach is through. So him, and even when Jeremiah comes back in, oh, actually, I thought it was actually really sad when Fatima got up there and sang her song. And, that's usually the moment where, a person looks up and is like, oh, wow, she's amazing. Zach felt so empty inside, and I can understand it. And then when it was his time to speak and Jeremiah was getting upset about not being able to speak, Zach was like, you know what, let him go up there. If he wants to talk, let him talk. I want to hear what he got to say. I get it. Zach is like, whatever. Honestly, I would have been interested to see what Zach, or hear what Zach had to say about his mom. That would have been interesting, but things played out the way they played out. So I personally have no issue with Zach's response because it was relatable. And I can't wait to do a video specifically about different elements of the finale. Like, you know, in general, these two episodes has so many elements that were relatable, whether it be the different kinds of people at a funeral, whether you feel some kind of way about the person that died. Sometimes you feel nothing. Of course, you know, Connie's battle with cancer, that's a whole conversation in itself. And I love reading the comments on both of my reviews because people had all kinds of reactions to various scenes. So yeah, Zach not responding, if you will, to like Jeremiah's antics is understandable. Let me know your thoughts on his demeanor. Like I said on Twitter that night when the episode was dropped, DeVal gets my props. I don't know how the hell he stayed stoic throughout the entirety of that scene because I would have been dying, like especially during the little shimmy. But let's talk about it more in the comments below. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.